Hi, welcome back. So we're ready. We're ready. We're ready to launch our first event. Okay, we already went through the whole registration process and the whole setup of the program. And we want to start launching our first event. And we're going to start launching a kata event. And I'm going to explain something you've been seeing since you start seeing these videos with this screen. You've seen this screen really long. You see as I move my mouse, I cover this long area. This is a 49-inch screen, which will allow me to open several instances of the program at the same time so that you can see how it will look from both perspectives, from the screen that the public will be seeing and the screen that the controller of the program will be seeing. The official on the desk, he will also be seeing a different screen. So with this monitor, I'm gonna be able to show you 2 and 3 screens at the same time, just in order so that I can give you a better understanding of the logic behind the way the program works. Okay, having said that, we're gonna start. Let's start with kata. Okay, as you know, with the new rules of WKF, katas are divided now in 3 systems. So if you go to Kata Competition right here on top, Kata Competition is divided on 3 separate ways they could compete now in kata. One of the ways is with 3 judges. So you will have 3 officials giving scores on their students, for the performance of that kata. And then you got 5 judges is the second one, and 7 judges is the third one that the WKF has implemented now for the future of kata, measuring how the students perform on each event. This is very interesting because when we talk about 3 judges, right, we're going to get a separate screen. When we get 5, we're going to use a different screen, and when we use 7, we're going to use a different screen. And we're going to see that right now. So let's say your event is focused on having 3 judges on the desk evaluating kata. So how this works, we're going to have 3 different ways we could work this event. One is going to be called the manual way. The manual way would be when the judges gives the scores, they'll probably say it out loud, or they'll show a board that the person in the desk with the official in the desk will see that number, and the public will see that number, and he just writes it down on the program. That would be the first way. And we're going to see how we do that, but I first want you to have an idea of what are we going to be looking at. The second way would be the judges do like a secretly semi-public way of giving the score. They might write it down in a piece of paper or in a cardboard or something, and they will pass it to the official in the table with the computer so that he could type that information in. And that's like the second way. And then the third way is the official way of the WKF, which is an electronic scorecard. And that this system provides for the 3 ways of doing it. The electronic scorecard works this way. You're going to have each judge with a laptop or a tablet connected to the software and passing his score directly from his tablet or laptop to the main computer with no official interaction in between. The information comes straight from the judge to the system. Okay? Obviously, right? I guess you're thinking the same thing I'm thinking. Once you go for the third version that we just said, that one is the most expensive one, right? Because you will have to have a laptop on your event for each judge. And if it's only 3 judges, well, then you're not talking about too much computers. But if you're talking about the 7 judges one, right? We're talking about 7 computers plus the computer that is in the desk. It's like a very huge operation thing. But this system provides for any one of these versions that you want to do on your event. So we're going to start with the most simple one, which will be the 3 judges manual way of scoring that event. And you're going to love it because it's pretty simple, it's not complicated, and you're going to like it. So let's do this. First thing, let's go to start. We're going to go Kata Competition. We're going to pick the one that says Kata Competition with 3 judges, right? We click it and we get this screen, right? When we get this screen, this is what we're going to do. We're going to click Insert, right? Because we want to create a new event. So we click Insert. And again, once we click Insert, we got to create a event. And how do we do this? Very simple. We're going to go through the check boxes that we got over here. So we're going to go through the first one. Here we're going to pick where it says event code. We're going to pick the event code that we set up when we created the tournament. Remember when we did the first video where we created the tournament? Now we're going to use that code that we created. If you don't know how to create that code, go back to the video where we created the tournaments. So that's the first video so that you can know how to create this code. Okay? So we click here, the 3 dots, and it gives me the tournaments we have created, right? And all we got to do now is pick which tournament are we in right now. So let's say I'm picking the first one. This is the tournament I'm in. I click select. And that's it. Once you do that, it'll fill out all the information. In this case, that one doesn't have too much information. Let's pick one here that has some information. This one doesn't have much either because it's been done like for test. This one has a little bit more better information. The KTS 1010. So from now on, every time we do an event, we're going to use this one, the KTS 1010. In your case, you will be using the one that you created for your tournament. So you will be getting here, once you pick it, you will be getting the name of the tournament, the organizer of the tournament, the address of the tournament, yeah, and the city where the tournament is being presented, the date of the tournament. Once you get that, then you'll get the other boxes you gotta check. Like for instance, what division are these competitors gonna be competing in? So these competitors, once we click it, remember when we created the divisions, now we get to pick. Well, this is gonna be an advanced competition. So I'll click advance, right? And it'll just fill it out right there. Then it asks me, what's gonna be the modality? Okay, well, the modality is going to be a kata event of 3 judges. So I picked the 3 judges one. Then it asks me, what categories are going to be competing here? And remember, when we talk about categories, we get a lot of options, right? We got these simple ones that we created when we were creating the categories. But we also talked about the very complex ones that we also have here too, that includes a lot of definitions within the same category, right? It's just a small code and then a large definition. Like for example, 6-year-old boy, novice in kata. So you get this huge way of picking different ways to define the categories of your competitors. But in this case, we're gonna pick the simple one. The one that says 11 years old to 12 years old, male. This is the people that's going to be competing in this kata event. Beautiful. Now we're going to pick what tatami are we in. Remember, we could have some tatamis defined, because if we had a wood floor, if we had a big kata floor of 100 mats, if we had a small mat of 68 tatamis and it's not very good for kata, we could have defined the tatamis that we want to use. So in this case, we're going to pick the tatami number 1, which is redefined as a 100-piece tatami. So okay, I'll pick that one. So this will set up my event of kata. And now I get to place in there 8 competitors for this event. 8 competitors. So we register the event, and now we're gonna pick the competitors for this event. And let's do that. What we're gonna do is we go on competitor number 1 and we click the dots and we pick what competitor do we want to use. Remember, when the competitors pay, you're gonna get a green color, which means they paid, and they also show you how much they paid. When they're in red, means they didn't pay and they're not registered, but they're still there. So if it is a competitor that you still want to put in the event, you could do so. In this case, I'm just gonna explain that overall, but I'm not gonna go by picking the registered competitors specifically because we didn't register enough competitors for this event. So we'll just pick them from the whole list. But you know that when you do your event, you will probably want to see the ones that you understand paid, or that you define in a way that you understand that they are going to be the ones competing. Like for instance, when I click in the tab number 14, it gives me the option of only seeing the ones that paid. So I wouldn't be seeing the whole populations of competitors. I would only be seeing the population that did pay. And remember, you can also do some specific search where you could just say, only show me the category of certain ages. Remember, we got down here the query so that we could create like a small query that would just show me the competitors that paid and they also are 8 to 11 years old. So it's a lot of things you could do here. But let's keep it simple. Simple. We look for the competitor here. We pick him and he comes up to my screen. Beautiful. The next thing I want to do is pick the kata he's going to be doing. Because the new rules states that each competitor has to say what kata he's going to do in advance. So beautiful. Remember, we already have all the katas in the system. So once you click here, you'll get all the katas WKF allowed by the WKF. And you can add more, right? But you already have the ones that are defined for now. So I'll pick a kata and I'll add it to him. Obviously, we will be picking the one that he's going to do. In this case, we're going to do a quickie so that we could get the whole system done in a faster fashion. For example, I'll pick the next competitor. Obviously, I don't want to pick the same name. So let me pick another competitor. Then I'll pick a kata. I'll pick one kata. Then I'll pick another competitor. And I'll look for another competitor. Then I'll pick a kata. Obviously, we would be picking the one that he said he's going to do. Then we go for the other competitor. And we pick the other kata. And I guess you got the idea. So I'm not going to keep talking. I'm just going to do the next. And I'll finish this in a second. And beautiful. And as you can see, I quickly filled out this information. Hardly took me what? Maybe 2 minutes, 1 minute, 3 minutes at the most. This is done. Now, this is the first step. Once we got all the competitors in and all the katas registered, we got to click this button. Very important. You don't forget this button. Because if not, when you go to the second tab, as you can see, everything is still empty. Even though I picked the competitors that are going to compete, but they still not registered. So I got to click here so that they could be registered for the cards they're going to be using. So I click register. And now when I go to the cards, each card gets the name of the competitor, the dojo of the competitor, and also the judge will be able to see the kata he's going to be doing and a lot of other things. In this case, remember what we said. We were going to do the first type of kata event, which is just the manual way of doing it. In the manual way of doing it, all I would do is I'll go to the second tab, and let's say the judges have this small board, right? And they write on that board the scores, and they say T 7.3, which is T stands for technical, and A stands for athletics. The WKF now wants you to score the technical skills of the competitor separate from the athletic skills of the competitor. And that's why each judge has to give 2 scores. But it's a formula behind the way that the computer is going to computate that score. So it is not as easy as just adding those numbers up and it should give you a total. No, it's a formula behind it, and the system will do that formula for you. All you got to do is just put those numbers in, and the system will compute the totals and everything for you. So let's do that. Judge number 1 gave, in the technical skills, he gave him 7.5. In the athletic skills, he gave him 7.7. Now we go for the judge number 2. Judge number 2 in the technical skills gave him 7.4. In the athletic skills, he gave him 7.9. The judge number 3 gave him, on the technical skills, he gave him a 7.2. On the athletic skills, he gave him 7.9. Okay? And that's the score for that competitor with only 3 judges. Now, what we're going to do, once we get all those scores in, we're going to go, remember, this is the manual way of doing it. So the get results will not be used on this way of scoring. So it's very important to you write down the way we do it when it's manual, because it changes a little when we do it with scorecards. Okay? So in this case, being manual is no problem. We typed everything in and we click results. And once we do that, that will give me a total result of the total for the student, which is 22.52. That's the score, final score for that competitor. Okay? So now we got the first score for the first competitor. I still want to do the second one, and then I'm going to show you how we're going to show those scores to the public. So let's do the second one again. Simple, we go to the second. This is the second competitor. He's going to come up to the line. He's going to start doing his kata. And in this case, the judge number 1 gave him 8.4. And on the athletic skills, he gave him 8.4. Judge number 2 gave him, on the technical skill, 8.5. And then it gave him on the athletic skill, he gave him 8.7. And the judge number 3 gave him 8.7. And on the athletics, gave him 8.4. And that's the score, final score for that judge, for that competitor, okay? So now, when I click results, I am getting the results for that competitor, which was 25.57 for that second competitor. Now, okay, now is where this huge screen will come handy, because this system allows you to show the scores live to your public, okay, in a different screen, which could be your scoreboard screen. Okay, and how will we do that? Okay, I don't want you to get confused, but this is the way we're gonna do it. The first thing I'm gonna do in this monitor, I can do this. I can pick this screen and I'm gonna take it out. Let me close this one. See, and I'm gonna use the Microsoft thing that you could just slam it to the side and I could see it in this side. And I just want you to believe that this side here is another screen that you have in another computer. So that way when you open in the other computer, your other screen, sorry, the screen that's going to be connected to your laptop, this would be the other screen, the other monitor, your projecting monitor. So first, we go to our software. And when we go to our software, it shows me where it says Judge Scorecard. And this is a very important area of the program. Why? Because it allows me to bring the internal results or the external results for all the different modules that we have here of competition. So let's go to display external results. When we click this, it will open another program, okay? And this program, we could have it on the laptop side, in the monitor of the laptop, and we could have it in the other screen too, doesn't matter. But we're gonna have it in this case on the side of the monitor of the laptop. I want you to work with this type of layout where you get to have in your laptop the console to monitor your scores, and you get to have on your side the console that controls the external scores. Okay? Hope you understood that. So simple now. Look at this. When we go here, we're going to go to Pantalla of Kata, which means screens of katas. And when we click it, it gives me two options. I want to be using the one that says console results. Console results. When I click it, it opens quickly this little browser right here, right? And here's the magic. And I want you to check the magic, how it works. When you come here to the first screen, it assigns you, when you created this event, when you created it, it assigned you a number for this event. The number that it assigned you was the event 18. So this event, the whole event of the 8 competitors, is the event 18. And obviously, for each event that you get, you're going to get a different number, right? But for the event, not for the competition, for the whole event. So now we go to the screen that we just opened, the external scoreboard, and we should have an 18 here. So we're going to scroll down and, oh, bada bing, bada boom, it's there. I got my 18. It exists. So everything is beautiful because now I got my 18 event right here. And all I got to do now is just double click it. Once you double click it, you'll get this little console. And this is beautiful because you can run your tournament like in a really high fashion way, showing each competitor's scoreboards, or you could just run it in a cruising control way. Let me show you first the high level, really fancy way of running it. The really fancy way of running it, when this competitor did this kata, you would have let him do the kata. And when you got all the information in and you already hit results, you would have gone to this screen and you would have go and click the number 1. And it would have bring you this. And then this, you would have drag it and drop it into the monitor of the public. And the public would be seeing now this beautiful score of that competitor. Oh, he got a 22.5 5-2, and it would have given the name of the competitor right there, the name of the tournament. You know, it would have been beautiful. Everybody would have seen everything, and they would have understood. Oh, look, oh man, great, look, Max, he won this. Would have been a very beautiful way of displaying it. And once that competitor was done, you would have just come here and you would just close it, right? And then you would have just wait for the other competitor. And when the competitor number 2 did his kata, you would have came here and you would have just clicked number 2, and beautiful, boom, you would have put it on the screen, and the second competitor would have got the 25.57, and the public would have seen it. Great. They would have write it down and you would have brought it back. You know, but it's a little bit more intensive because you got to remember to go for each one, project it to the public. So this would be like the more fancy way of doing it. But maybe We are like in a little bit of a rush, we want to just get the scores out there so the public can see it, and we don't want to be like every time going back and forth. We could just open the full scoreboard. And if we open this one, we could just leave it on the monitor. We don't have to touch it anymore. And every time we put a new score here, it will just appear here. Let's do one so that we can see how it works. Great. So let's do the third competitor. Let's say this third competitor did a kata. I'm not going to touch this. I'm not even going to touch the console. It should happen automatically, okay? I use this word a lot, automatically. So it should work. It should work beautifully. Let's test it. So let's go again. We're going to say judge number 1 gave 7.5 and gave in athletics a 7.0. The judge number 2 gave a 7.8. And then in the athletics, he gave a 7.1. Then judge number 3 gave him a 7.9. And athletics, he gave him a 7.2. Right? Beautiful scores. When I click result here, I want you to look here, and this should happen automatically. You don't have to do nothing. It'll just show that score on that monitor, which is you didn't touch. So let's see if it's true. When we click here, beam, magically it worked. It's right there. The information is there. So you get a 22.63, and you go here, you got a 22.63. Beautiful. It worked it. It gave the results, and the public is seeing the result live, and you don't have to be worrying about this monitor. It's just giving results there until the 8 competitors are done. Okay? And this would be, remember, the manual way of giving results. The only thing I gotta tell you now before we finish this way is that we're gonna have to go to the screen or the tab number 3 for the other 4 competitors. So remember, you're gonna get in the first tab 4 competitors, and on the other tab you get 4 more competitors. Okay, that way you cover your 8 competitors and you get your division done. Okay, remember, before we finish, we can print these results, that's a beautiful thing, right? Because we don't want to leave our results in the computer, because in a case of a dispute of a sensei or a person that says, I'm supposed to get more points, less points, something went wrong with the system, you never know, you want to have that on paper. So you get the choice, if you set up a network or a printer connected straight to the laptop, to print these results at the moment, on the fly. And all you got to do is just go here to this option, which is the little print button. And when we click it, I want you to see this beautiful screen. Look, it gives you all the information of the tournament right there. You see, it gives you the information of the tournament, the scores that the competitors got for each judge. Beautiful thing, right? So you get all this information, and you just click print if you want to print it. In this case, I'm going to cancel out. And this is done. This is a manual way of doing the event, that if the judges were showing their scores, beautiful. You just wrote them in, and it worked it fine. Okay? The only thing I'm going to do now is, on this same video, I'm going to skip explaining a little the second one, because the second one is pretty much almost the same to this one in the technical skills wise, because the only difference you're going to get now for the second one is that the judges will write down in a paper the scores, and you would come manually and type them in here, which is almost the same thing, right? But it is not. It is not. It is not the same, because when the judges are showing to the public their score and they're writing it in, it is not the way the WKF want it to be. They want the scores of the judges to be secretly, so that no judge can see what the other judge gave until the moment of the final result, and then it's no problem everybody to know the score. But in the first version that we did manually by reading from a board that everybody's seen, is a different way from this version, where the judges will be giving you a paper to the official on the table with the score that they gave for the kata. But it's going to be basically the same thing. It's a little sticky note that will probably say technical 7.5, athletic 5.5, and I'm judge 3, and I'm judge 2, and I'm judge 1. And those papers that were given to you, you would type them in, and the same thing. It will come up on the screen. You click results, and it will show, and you finish the event, you print it, and it will basically work the same way. The thing that changes is the secrecy. That now the results wasn't shown to the public of each judge until the end. And when I mean the end, it's not even the end of the match. It's the end of the event. Because in order for them to see what each judge did, they will have to go to the report. And this report will probably be printed for everybody to see, or it will be posted on the internet, and then you could go and see what the judge gave. But you never got to see what the judge gave at the moment in the tatami. It turns into a secrecy thing, right? So the first two are almost the same process-wise. So now, recapping what we learned on this video before we move to the next one, okay? We want to do our first event. Our first event is going to be kata. We picked that the event was going to be of 3 judges. So let's go quickly here and go through the steps we went. We went kata. We looked it up here. Here it goes, competition of kata. And we looked it for 3 judges. In this case, we hit insert. In my case, I'm not going to hit insert. I'm going to look for the last event, number 18, because we created this event. This is the event we just created. So this is a way to learn how to look for an event you already did. We double click it. It brings the event up to screen, and we filled out the event information. Remember, we click all these red buttons to fill it out. The second thing we did was we went to create all the competitors. Once we put all the competitors in, we click register. Once we register the competitors, we went to the scorecards. And here we typed it in, all the information that the judges gave for each competitor when they competed. Then we talked about going up here again and looking for judges' scorecards, and we went to external results. Very important. Do not double click this again if you already clicked it. Not that you cannot do it, but if you do it, it will open another instance of the external scoreboard. And why is this? Because this software is super powerful. You can get to have 5, 10, 20 monitors. As much monitors you want to have on different areas of your tatamis, and people could see scores on every kind of scoreboards. So every time you open a new scoreboard, you could put that scoreboard in another screen and another screen. So you could end up having a lot of screens showing the results of your competitors. But in this case, we're going to look for the scoreboard that we already opened. And we're going to get this screen. And in this screen, we looked for the event number. Let me close this out 1 second so that we can do this again. We looked for the event 18 because it's the same event as this one. Remember, we said we know this is the 18 because it says it here. And it gives you a brand new number every time you start your events. We found the event 18. It was in the bottom. We clicked it. And then we got the fancy way of doing it. We could go by 1 or 2, right? Or 3. And then we also learned that we could go with the full scoreboard. Okay, with the full scoreboard, we get to do this. And just to give a little bit more hints, We also have other scoreboards here, which is just the full, but without all the details of the results. This is like a more compact results. And then we have the scoreboard by name, where you can see the competitors by name who won. Beautiful thing, you see, and then you get all this information. Then once we did that, we said, okay, remember that we could do this secretly or we could do this publicly, and the system will work the same for both. Okay, so having said all that, remember, like we always say, if you have any questions or any doubts on this video, you can always contact us at our email and we will happily support you and give you more information so that we could fix or give you any idea or correct any questions you have for this module specifically. Okay, so we will be seeing you in the next module. The next module we'll be talking about how to do an event with electronic scoreboards, so that now each judge will automatically put his score directly into the system. Okay? See you in the next one.